Hey everyone, my name's Jason. I'm a solo game developer living in Sweden. I'm working on my little Godot game, and I'm also doing a bunch of other things. Like I work on the game called Among the Wild by Nuggets Entertainment. I'm also working on a recently announced other game by Nuggets Entertainment. We don't know what it is yet, but there it exists. It's going to be coming out soon. And then also, I do the State of Dev live show every Wednesday on my stream, twitch.tv/gemballs, but you can check out stateof.dev if you want to watch previous episodes. And then also, I do a stream every Saturday where I do variety games, and also I sometimes do dev streams throughout the week. And is that it? Is that all the things that I do? I think it might be. That actually might be all the things. And the reason I tell you all of these things, I think that's all. The reason I tell you all of these things is that because this video is going to be a bit more of like a life update video and not so much of a devlog video. And all of these things that I do are going to be relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. And this video, I'm hoping, is going to be kind of just more one take. I'm just going to YOLO this. I've tried to script this video 1,000 times. I've written tens of thousands of words for this, and I can't get it right. So we're just going to plow through. I'm going to keep this raw, and we're just gonna go for it. Okay, folks. I'm not usually that comfortable talking about this stuff. I'm usually more comfortable talking about other people's things. So like when I was on Community Manager for Satisfactory, I could talk about that game that was made by everyone. When I'm talking about my own game, I'm uncomfortable because I'm like, even that's too close because I made it personally, just me. And now we're talking directly about me. So this is no flannel even. All right, this is how much we're raw dogging this right now. Okay, so vamonos, let's go. Let's just see how this goes. Everyone, be nice. Okay, okay. So the things that I wanted to talk about was I do all of those things, and that's going to be relevant. The other things that I want to talk about in this video is going to be, I want to briefly, very, very, very briefly talk about mental health. I'm not going to go into details, not really, but that will be relevant as well. And then I also want to talk about my progress on my game and just the state of dev and things like that in general, and how I feel that's been going over the years, and just the state of my situation as a solo dev in general. So we'll cover that as well. And then there's some other exciting news for me personally, probably won't really mean anything to you guys, but for me personally, that I'll talk about in the end as well, which I'm excited to talk about because it's going to be great. Okay, so let's just get started. The first thing is going to be the mental health stuff. So for those of you who don't know, I have been public about it already. I have bipolar disorder type 2, and there's a video by Embracer Group, which you can see up here. I made that with them many, many, many years ago. And yeah, I don't really want to get into it too much, but that's one thing that I sort of deal with. It's a very ever-present thing that I have to deal with day in and day out. I'm consciously faced with it all the time, which is not a lot of fun, but it is what it is. The other thing that I deal with is a thing called burnout, which I'm sure many of you have heard from. Typically, people associate it with, overwork or something like that. And that is true. It can come from that. But generally, it's just like if you have too much of the wrong stress for an extended period of time, you can kind of burn out. But the thing about burnout is I'm also particularly susceptible to burnout. So it's something that I've experienced a lot of in my life. I think some other reasons why I'm particularly susceptible to it is maybe because of the bipolar disorder. Just it's a bit of a debuff on me, basically, so to speak. Kind of just like amplifies stressful situations, among other things, right? There are many, many times throughout my time at Coffee Stand, for example, where I burnt out entirely and had to just take long breaks, or had to work on really, really limited hours because I didn't have the capacity to do more. Basically, just didn't have the energy or the brain power to do it. And the reason I sort of bring out the burnout side of it is that this past year in particular has been incredibly rough with it. Like, I've been slowly burning out throughout all of last year, but I didn't really do anything about it because I was like, I really need to focus on what I what I'm trying to do here, which is all of the things that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And I couldn't really find a way to cut any of them out. And to this day, I still haven't cut any of them out. I don't know how to do that, or I don't really want to cut any of them out for various reasons. So I kind of just wanted to power through. And I'm like, no, I think I can do this. I can overcome it all. I can find a way to work on it, or maybe I can tweak things and make it better. But ultimately, it's just been getting a little worse and worse and worse. And the way I sort of describe things is that instead of waking up in the morning with 100 mana, my max mana has been reduced down to like 50, and I still needed to do 150 mana worth of tasks anyway. And so I can't do it, and it's been really, really, really rough. And everything in my life has been suffering because of it. Also, my memory is getting so much worse because of it as well. It's just been really, really, really bad. So this is something that really I need to start taking action on. I don't really know what to do just yet. I know how to overcome burnout because I've done it a million times before. But in this particular case, it's a bit hard to decide what to do. And the reason is because I have all these things that I have to do, right? And I'm in this solo dev situation that I'm in where, I don't get this stable income necessarily every month anymore. I do in a large part from nuggets, from the work that I do with them. But even that can fluctuate a little bit here and there. Twitch is, somewhat stable, but that can fluctuate a little. YouTube is all over the place. It's hard to cut any of these out because in order to get by financially, I kind of need to do those things, right? And this was the decision I made at the end of the day when what I wanted to do was to dedicate most of my time to something that doesn't generate any money, right? Which is my game. And if I generated all my time to working on my game, it wouldn't make the money that I would be making right now. The reality is when I started doing this solo dev stuff, the worst performing videos on my channel have always been my game dev ones. Maybe they're not good enough. Maybe I just don't make them well enough. But I also think that the majority of the audience that I have here just haven't been people that were that interested or understood what was happening. I'm not sure. Or again, maybe I just didn't make good enough videos. But I felt that, not doing anything but my game and making content from that probably wouldn't have paid off in the term while I make the game, if that makes sense. So I tried to find other ways to earn money as well, basically. But one thing I do want to say though is that without your support, okay, so folks who have been subs on Twitch, the people who are patrons on Patreon or members here on YouTube, without your support, the dream would have been dead by now. Okay, so thank you all so much for that. It really means a lot. It helps a lot. It really does. So thank you everyone for your support. I'm still going. We're still going. I've still got a decent chunk in my savings to keep going for a little longer. And I think if we keep things up, we'll see where we get to. Okay, but yeah. So thank you everyone for that. But yeah, it has been hard to pick, what do I cut out or how can I optimize what I'm doing? Yeah, and so we'll sort of have to see where it goes. But one way or another, what I do know is that I do need to figure something out. I need to start reversing the effects of this burnout ASAP for my own sake, of course. But there is another motivation now to do that. And that is because of the last thing that I sort of want to talk about. And that is that I'm going to be going to Japan. Now, this is wild and out of left field because I think that sentence alone is the most insane thing anyone can say after everything I've just said to you. What? You're not even making enough money to get by every month, You barely, get by. You're going to Japan now? This makes no sense, okay? Let me explain. Let me cover, right? I wasn't gonna do this either, but now I am. So, first of all, those who know me know that I used to live in Japan, and I go back to Japan quite often. And the reason for this is because Japan feels like home to me, right? And I'm Australian originally. When I go back to Australia, it doesn't feel like home. It feels like a foreign country. Here in Sweden, I love Sweden. I think it's a great country. It doesn't feel like home though. And when I go back to Japan for these little vacations that I take, when I step off the plane there is a burden or something that is shed off my shoulders. The second I step off a plane or jump on a train, and I feel like I'm finally home, and I feel like I'm in sync with my surroundings. I'm finally where I am, where I want to be, which is weird because I've been in Sweden much longer, and Sweden is a fantastic country, but Sweden doesn't feel like home. It just feels like the place that I'm in. But Japan feels like home. And so my relationship with Japan was that I studied in Japan for 9 months as part of my university degree way back in the day. And then I went back to Australia to graduate, and then I worked in Australia for a little bit. But at that time, I was homesick for Japan. So I was like, forget it. I'm selling everything, and I'm going to go look for work in Japan. And I sold everything that I owned, and I went to Japan with everything that I had. And I only had like a few nights at accommodation booked, no job lined up, and I was just going to try and make it work one way or another. I ended up finding work, and then I eventually met people in the games industry there, and then I eventually got an interview at SNK, and that's where I got my start in the games industry. So, and the rest was history from there, basically. And so I think that a big part of what makes Japan feel like home for me is the fact that it's where I became independent. Both as a student at first was sort of an experience where I was away, I had to find new friends, I was in a new place, I had to like explore and relearn how buses work and all the day-to-day life stuff works. But then again, when I went back to look for work, again, it was this big uphill struggle thing that I had, and I had to find a way to make things work. And I was really sort of independent at that time, more so than ever. And so I think it's where I became my own person, if that makes any sense. And I think that there's still a lot to me right now that came from my time. Even though it's relatively short, it was like 3 years in total in Japan, you know? And so I don't speak Japanese fluently. I can't read everything. I'm not Japanese or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's just, I can't even explain it. It just is that when I go there, I feel at home. I feel at peace. I feel that there's no conflict or something. Something in me is gone. And I don't feel this if I go to Germany or the UK or Spain. I don't feel these things. When I do that, I feel like I'm going on vacation. But when I go to Japan, I feel like I'm at home. So, you know, with that, I've had this internal conflict in me of where should I be? Should I stay in Sweden or should I move to Japan? And I've never really known what to do about that because I just don't know, because Sweden is such a great country. It really is. I mean, maybe I just need to move to a different city in Sweden. I don't know. Who knows? But I've tried to find ways to make Sweden work for me, or make Sweden feel the same way for me, and it just hasn't yet. And it's not for the lack of trying. I've tried many things, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't yet. And every single time I go back to Japan, it reminds me, no, you do feel this way about this country. Maybe I should be there. The problem is vacations don't really give you the right. I don't think they're a good substitute for what it feels like to live somewhere. So if you go there for like 2-3 weeks, that's not what it's like to live in Japan, right? You're not really building these daily routines in that time or anything like that. It's usually a whirlwind of visiting friends for me, or traveling around the country. So, one thing I'd always been interested in is what if I go back there for an extended period of time, like a few months. Maybe that would help day-to-day life settle in, and maybe that could help me gauge what's going on, and maybe that could help me remove this conflict that is within me about where I should go, right? The problem with that is flights and accommodation for a couple months in Japan is very expensive, right? And it wouldn't even be a perfect simulation either, right? Because it's not like I'd be working at a Japanese company or anything like that if I just go there. So it's not perfect or anything by any means, but Yeah, it's completely impossible, especially in my situation. It would be really, really unreasonable to do that. However, this year, which I thought there's no way I'd be going to Japan, not even for a short vacation, a friend of mine recently said, hey, I've got, a big place. If you would like to crash here or something like that, you can. I was like, all right, well then, obviously this is much cheaper than Airbnbs or hotels. I was like, okay, I mean, that's a fantastic opportunity, but I think it's still too much money, the flights and other costs associated with traveling, for me to go and to justify it, right? And he was like, okay. And I was like, I'm going to put this on ice. I'll also let you know if anything changes. The other reasons that it could be good, why I'm also thinking like, oh, this could be good though, is because a lot of my games inspiration comes from my time in Japan. And I think going there could be really inspiring creatively as well. And I could have my laptop with me so I can noodle on my game while I'm there too, and all of that stuff. And so I thought that was the end of that. I didn't think anything would happen. But then someone else that I know, who I've known all my life, reached out to me and told me that they were thinking of going to Japan later this year. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I was considering going because, I was offered like a place to stay, and I have other friends there as well that I could crash with too if I needed in the 3-month period too, if I were to go for 3 months or something. And this friend said, oh, you should totally go. That's a great opportunity. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know if I can afford it. I've got my game to work on. I need to save money for that. And they said, hey, I'll pay for your flights there, and you can pay me back. And I was like, I don't really borrow money from people, and I really don't. I also am not even that comfortable with like saying the Patron stuff and getting subs or donos. I already feel weird about that. I had to train myself to be okay and smooth with it, and I'm still not smooth with it. Like I can't even look into the camera while I talk about it. I don't borrow money from people. It's very hard for me to accept that kind of help from people. Like I have a credit card that is never used. Like I never do this kind of stuff. And I said, look, I can do it, but only if you let me pay you back. Like whenever. I can't have this deadline because I'm still working on my game. If I have to pay you back in 6 months, I might as well just pay it for myself now, right? And because I need the money for my game. And they said, yeah, sure, no worries. So we end up, I sort of think about it a little bit, and I think, okay, well, with these two things combined, I think it becomes a possibility that I can actually maybe do this. Maybe it does make sense. Like maybe the inspiration might help. Maybe the change of scene might help. Maybe this shedding of weight off me will help. Maybe feeling at home again might help and ease some of this stress. Maybe it will help me deal with my burnout. Maybe it will force me to take time for myself to go and see things for myself and spend time with friends, because it would be a limited time opportunity, Maybe this would be really good. So I accepted. I took the offer, and they paid for the flight. And then afterwards, after they did that, they said, I was just kidding. You don't have to pay. This is a gift. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? My jaw hit the ground. They told me that a long time ago. I helped them out with some stuff. We've known each other for forever. And we've been through a lot of stuff. And they said that this was a way to give back, which was crazy. It was incredibly kind. They never had to do this. They did not. Under no circumstances, but I am so eternally grateful that they did. It's such a tangible gift. It's a gift that's not just the money for the flights. It is a gift that lifts the weight of this decision off my shoulders. The fact that I can go guilt-free to explore this thing that might be really healthy for me. That is an insane opportunity, right? You don't just go to another place for months on end at little to no cost of yourself. You know what I mean? This is absurd. And for both my friends there in Japan and this person helping me with the flights combined, they've made this impossible opportunity a reality for me. And it's now at a point that it's too good to say no to. Now, there's still costs associated with it, so I'm still going to take a little bit of a hit whilst doing this, but I think that the benefits might outweigh them, and hopefully I get more out of this that I'm putting in. And I also just want to say a big thank you to everyone who has helped make that an opportunity. I also want to say thanks to you for making this an opportunity, because if it wasn't for the support of everyone, okay, helping me get to this point, that such that I'm still working on my game, this opportunity wouldn't have been an opportunity, right? Because I would have been working full-time somewhere. Like, I don't know, right? So who knows, right? Yeah. And so that's the news. I'm going to be going there next month. I'm going to be there for under 3 months, just under 3 months. And I hope to still get some streams going. I still hope to get some videos up. I still hope to noodle on my game on my laptop, but I also hope to get to see Japan. I don't really think I'm going to travel around Japan so much, but I'll get a bike, ride around, and just live daily life is what I kind of want to try and emulate a little bit. And I want to see if this can answer the questions that I have inside me, basically. And if this can lighten some of the load, because I really need it. And I also think I mentioned this before in this take of this video. But I also think that being there is going to motivate me to take the time away from work, to make time for myself, and to spend time with friends, and to explore. Yeah, things like that. I think it's going to be great to walk around when I need reference photos of buildings and just take a photo of one and be like, that one's going in the game now. You know? I think it's going to be great. Yeah. So I look forward to that. I hope you're excited for me. And yeah, this video is quite long. I hope it wasn't too long. It's probably a bit rambly, but guys, I think this is the best I could do, unfortunately. Thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. Don't forget, you can support me, Patreon, YouTube memberships, Twitch subs, links in the description below for all of that kind of stuff. If you wish to do so, thank you so much for your support so far. Thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope you're all doing well. Let me know what you think, I suppose, of all of this stuff. I'm a little nervous of comments, to be honest, but we'll see. Okay, and thank you, everyone, for being here all this time. I'll catch you next time. Bye.